Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have a 5-string Ibanez bass on the bench today. We're doing a repair on this one. The complaint is the battery, the 9-volt battery is wonky. Sometimes it makes contact, sometimes it doesn't. I have to diagnose that. I think I might have a new connection here in the shop. If I do, I'll just solder it up. If I don't, we'll do a second installment. We're going to clean it up, check all the adjustments, do a quick setup on it. This is his #1 bass, and we're going to check it out, clean it up, and get it going for him. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We'd love to work on your guitar. Let's get to work. Nice looking bass guitar. 5-string, as I said. I want to do a couple of measurements first. See where we're at. He said the strings are relatively new, so it's not getting new strings today. They do not look bad, and they look like roto sounds, but I can't be 100% sure, but they might be. Where's my favorite feeler gauge? Let us see where we're at in neck relief. I looked at it briefly. Oh, it's really, really, really close. Way too straight. So we're going to get in there during the setup and give him a little more neck relief. Way too tight. A 12/1000 wouldn't even go under the string. I'd be curious if it's buzzing. Yeah, we got a lot of buzzing and not so much on the B. It's definitely really close. There's literally no neck relief in this thing at all. We're going to give it a little bit. Based on what I see there, I wonder where his string height is. Let's just double check that. Probably going to be too close because the neck relief is, oh yeah, pretty low. Below 4, just at 4, way below 4, way below 4, way below 4. Yeah, this guitar is probably doesn't play that well. He didn't have any complaints about that, but I'm going to set it up anyway because, damn, yeah, that's usually we get them and the string height is way too high, but there's no neck relief and the pickups are, one is way too close and one's way too far away. They just don't seem to be sitting in there right. Well, we're going to plug it in and play it anyway because I have to see what the battery is doing. I think this one needs to come up a little bit. This one might be okay. It's got EMG HZs in them. Those are good pickups. Active bass. A little bit dirty, but not bad at all. Really, this is like, needs a little bit of a cleanup. Let's get in here because I'm curious. I'm going to check his neck screws. Nice and tight. That one was a little bit loose. He said this. He said it had a new battery in it, but there's no battery in it. Pause 1 second. I got to go source a battery. Okay, we're back with the battery. Make sure his tuners are tight. Very nice. This guitar is actually pretty nice. I like it. I'm not a 5-string player myself. But I don't knock guys who play 5-string. I've never been a fan of onboard electronics, but again, that's just me. I cannot see what's going on in here, but let's plug the battery in and see what happens. He said if he put a battery in it, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And that if he jiggled this around, oh, something feels loose and wonky already. Never much cared for this sort of thing myself. But I understand why guys do this and what the active electronics are for. Just never believed in them myself. And for this very reason, because it's just little tiny wires that you got to change this battery quite often. And if you leave a guitar plugged into it and the amp on, it'll keep drawing on your battery, which happens a lot. And this is the reason why I don't like them, because you have to stuff these little wires down in there. And they always get pinched or stretched or crushed against the side. And from all this shenanigans, yeah, they don't work right. So that's my rant about onboard electronics and 9-volt batteries and active shit. Don't care for it. There's my base amp here. See if this thing's going to work today. I better spray that with some goop. What's the problem? Maybe it is his base isn't working. Well, that's working. But that sure isn't. Okay. Come out of there, you. This is going to be kind of wonky. This isn't working at all. Ah, there we go. Yep, if you press down on the plug, it begins to work. I don't like that. Well, at least the customer put me in the right direction, because that's not normal and that's not good. So my fix for that would be to snip that off and solder a new end on it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. However, I don't have any here. So we're going to wait. They will be sourced and they will be here shortly. But in the meantime, I'm going to slice this open and see what's going on here, because I'm curious. I am curious to see if this can be repaired or if it's just boogered. What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm pretty much with you on it. It's bent, it's broken, it's looking really wonky. And it looks like there's right there, a bare spot in the wire. So, yep, we're going to snip that off and solder a new one on. No good. Now, it should still play without a battery, but some do and some don't. I don't think this one will. No, it has to have a battery in it. So, no good. So I can't even test the rest of the electronics because it's just too much to hold that thing up out of the way and hold that battery to where it'll actually make sound. So we're not going to putz with that any longer today. We have to get the battery sourced, or the plug sourced out for it, and yeah, we'll get a new one, get it soldered in, and then retest it, and I mean, when you're pushing on it, it started to work. So he was correct in that assumption that it's probably just the plug. I'm going to go with that. In the meantime, I'm going to de-string it, clean it, oil the board, wipe the guitar down, restring it, and set up the neck relief and the string height, because damn, yeah, it's really, really straight, too straight. The neck is actually in a little bit of a back bow, and down here, ooh, I see what the problem is. Well, they've got this, the saddles are almost all the way up, and the string height is not high enough. So let us do the truss rod adjustment first and see what that gets us. Oh, of course, it's not going to give us any output. What are you doing? Come on, Blackjack, you know better than that. And of course, my headstock tuner is in my guitar case. Stand by. Sorry about the delay. I had to go get my headstock tuner. Everything was flat. I'm wondering if he plays in half step. And when I call him with the estimate on what we're doing, I'll have to ask him to refresh my memory on that, because everything was flat. I wonder, did that help us any? Probably not enough. Okay, that looks better. Way low, way low, way low, way low. Yeah. Okay, so let us do. Is this thing going to let me get in there? Hell no. We're going to get this truss rod cover off, look in there, and see what kind of wrench we need. And we're going to give him a little bit of neck relief, because it is way too straight right now. And that could be causing our string action to be a little low, but I'm worried that this thing's going to need a shim, because he's all the way up on his saddle adjustments, and we don't have enough height. But first things first, make sure his truss rod even works. What do we have in there? Looks like a 4 mil, probably would be. This is an Indonesian guitar, so I'm going to guess that's what it would be. Let's see if my guess is accurate. Yahtzee. Let's get that string off of there too, and I'm going to give it. So let's see. I have to loosen it, so we're going to turn it to the left. It's definitely tight. Way tight. I'm going to try that. I got a good half a turn on it. Let's get it back up. I hate it when you have to loosen all the strings just to get at the truss rod adjustment. Because this is what you have to go through. Sorry for the silence. There. Let's see what we can see if that helped us any. First, let's see if we got any relief in it. Not much. That thing is straight as an arrow. Let's see if I can get in there without taking all the strings off again. Yeah. It's really tight. It's moving freely enough, but it's given me a little bit of a heartache. Doesn't want to respond. It should be responding better than it is. There we go. Now we have some relief in there. Just enough. Okay. That's good. That's good news. Let us check and see if we got any string height. Because I'm looking like these saddles are not going to give me any more. Okay, the B string's way too high now. The E string came up where it belongs. So did the A, B, and G. Those all came up. The B string needs to come down. So by effectively adjusting the truss rod and getting the proper neck relief into this guitar, relaxing it a little bit so that it gets a little neck relief, the string action came up. Somebody was trying to get the string action up by driving the saddles and bringing them all the way up, when in reality, the adjustment that needed to be made was the truss rod. So now we need to knock this is going to be a really small, I believe it's this guy. We need to bring our B string down. I'm going to do a half a turn each side. And check it again. Still too high. Come on. Still too high. responding. Something else holding it? No. It should be dropping down. There we go. We're getting there. We are getting there. Sometimes they don't like to be adjusted after they've been sitting for so long. Get the proper tension on there again. Okay. One more check. I'm going to double check all these measurements again, like I always do after I get done working on a guitar. We're right at 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So the only one I had to adjust was the B string. Okay, get you in the movie here, sorry. Get you the B string. That was too high to begin with. Actually, when we started, it was the only one that was the correct height. By changing the neck relief, I didn't have to touch any of the saddles. It actually brought all the other strings right up to 5/64, which is where we need to be. So now I can de-string it safely, and I understand where we're at now and what adjustments we've made and where we're going to go back to after we de-string it, clean it, treat the neck, dress the frets a little bit. And of course, we're going to repair the 9-volt battery connector in the back, but that won't happen for another day or so until the parts come in. But this guitar will play like a dream now. It had to have been a little bit wonky the way it was set up, the way he was playing it, but he didn't say. Now I don't know if he plays it that often. So that's where we're going to go. I'm going to pause, de-string it. We're going to show cleaning it up a little bit, cleaning up the frets and dressing them with my favorite Fred Eraser product. That's what I use. Sometimes I'll get on them with a sandpaper, but not today. They're in good enough shape. They're just a little corroded, a little tarnished. We're going to clean them up with the Fred Eraser. So stand by. Okay, so we're back. I'm just going to show you. We de-strung it. I brushed it down. I cleaned up the headstock. The tuners all look good. The bushings are all good. Some of these are a little loose. I'm going to clean them up. First thing we want to do is clean up the frets. And the simplest way to do that is to erase them. And this stuff is just basically a sandpaper block. And cover and get after it. And I'm going to do a 2-step process, first with the 400 grit and then go up to the 1000 grit. And that will remove all the tarnish off the top and the crown of the fret. You can almost see the difference right away. They're very, very corroded, tarnished, not abnormal. That's just the way it is. They get dirty and they do need to be cleaned. So I'm not going to show you this entire exercise, but you've got to go all the way up the fretboard. And first I'm going to do a double on this one, first with 400 and then go to the 1000. And that will shine them up and polish them up really nicely. And it makes for a much smoother playing instrument. You know, this has to be done. This is maintenance, and a lot of people don't know about it. They get used to their grungy guitar, and they just figure that's the way instruments play when they're used. Well, no, we can make them brand new almost every time, and this should be done at least once a year. I do mine every 6 months whenever I restring my guitars. I play a lot. I'm in 2 bands. I do studio work. So, whenever I string my basses, when it comes up due or they're getting ready to change, I usually will go through with 1000 and just clean them up because I do it so often. So I'm going to stand by while I do the 400, and I'm going to show the last little bit with 1000. So I'm going to go 400, then 1000, and that will clean all them up, and then we're going to scrub the board and oil it. So stand by. Okay, we're back. We're just finishing up with the 1000 grit. It's a little bit tedious, but it only takes about 10 minutes, and you just pay attention. And really, all we're doing is cleaning the crown of the fret where the rubber hits the road, as it were, where the string actually touches the fret. And it may seem like this is, it doesn't need that. Well, it does, and it makes a big difference in the way the instrument plays. That's your tactile feel where the string hits the fret, and when you clean it up like this, and that will also show any imperfections. But this guitar has got some, it's been played. There's a lot of string action here on the fretboard, and there are just the beginnings of some divots in the frets, but nothing to get in a twist over. This is going to be a beautiful playing instrument when we get done with it. Real basic stuff. This is all maintenance. It's nothing more than maintenance. All right, headphones. Now we're going to do the fretboard. We're going to clean the actual fretboard. Again, real basic stuff. Just a little bit of cleaner on there. Get to it. And again, this doesn't seem like it's totally necessary, but you don't know how sticky a fretboard gets with all of the acid and oil that comes off of your fingers while you're sweating and playing, and it gets on the board, and it changes the way the instrument plays and the way it feels. This is something that needs to be done regularly, at least once a year. I recommend twice a year, but let's not get carried away. I mean, I play a lot. Some people don't play a lot. But even if your guitar is sitting around, it's self-explanatory. That's cigarette smoke, sweat, DNA. We've talked about it before. A little bit of it is the dye from the board, but not a lot. Not a lot. Most of that is dirt. You scrub it, wipe it down, clean it. We're going to use one more clean rag. And we're going to wipe it down again, and then we're going to put some oil on it. And the oil, the wood is a living, breathing thing. I say it over and over again, even though it's been, a cut down tree and formed into this fretboard for many, many years. Imperfections start to show up. Wood shrinks and expands over time depending on weather conditions, humidity, dryness, change of the seasons. It has character. And you need to oil it. The linseed oil is what I like, boiled linseed oil. It actually, any imperfections, such as the string scratches that are in the rosewood up here, and any cracks that may be opening over natural, aging of the wood, it will fill that in and actually get hard and smooth out the board naturally. It also lubricates the board and keeps it moist. Wood needs to be oiled. You can't just let it dry out forever and expect your instrument to perform like it's supposed to. Just another tip from your Uncle Blackjack. More paper towels. Get the boiled linseed oil out. Here. I'm running low. I'm going to have to get another one. I do hundreds of guitars, so I generally like to do this on every instrument if it needs it. First we apply it. And no, I don't apply it with my finger. I put it on the paper towel. You can see the difference. When you put that oil on there, the wood automatically reacts to it. It loves it. Don't put too much, but don't be afraid to apply it. I like this more than any other product I've ever used on rosewood fretboards. open fretboards. You don't do this on a clear-coated fretboard, okay? This is for open wood. You're going to put it on there, and you're going to let it sit for a minute or two, and let it do its thing. Don't put it on and then wipe it right off. Let it go on there and do its thing for a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to get another clean rag and wipe it off. All right. Don't be afraid to let it sit on there for a few minutes. It's not going to hurt anything. It's only going to help, and it will fill in some of these little imperfections that have occurred over the use of the guitar over time. So stand by. We're going to let that sit, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so final step in treating the board. You saw us clean, and what you can call it dressing the frets. To me, it's you're cleaning the frets. You're taking the tarnish off the frets with the fret eraser or sandpaper. Sometimes I use a really high grit sandpaper if I really want to get a high shine on them, but the fret erasers are fast and just as good. And then the boiled linseed oil, just look at the difference. I mean, you can see how dark and deep and rich that wood is. It's always a aha moment. I love it. And if it's good enough for my guitars, it's good enough for every customer's guitar that I work on. I have never given a guitar back to someone and they didn't go, wow, I had no idea my guitar would look and play as good as it does. You know, I say it over and over again. Guitars need a little bit of care every once in a while, maintenance, and they will give you much better results in playability as time goes by if you do just the most basic maintenance once a year at the minimum. You know, I'm a little bit of a nut. I do mine more often than that, but that's just because I do this for a living and I can. All right, so I don't like using these white paper towels. They leave dust and fluffies everywhere. So to get back to where we were, I'm going to wipe this down. We're going to have a two-part series on this guitar because we are waiting for parts to come to repair the 9-volt battery connector, which was at the beginning of this installment. I destrung it. I cleaned it. I cleaned up the frets, cleaned up the fretboard. I'm going to wipe the guitar down and clean it up. I do that for all my customers. I just don't see any reason not to. If you're going to go to these lengths to do work and somebody trusts you enough to let you work on their guitar, then give them the extra service and, you know, clean it up. It needs it. It needs that attention. A good-looking instrument is a happier instrument and a happier player. So we're going to stop there today. I will get the parts tomorrow and we'll do the second installment, and we'll go from there. It's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Thanks for hanging in there. If you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We want to work on your guitar. We will make you happy. We will make you a happier player. We'll talk soon.